Hello and welcome to another episode of Taste Kitchen. I'm your host, Lauren Castellano, and today we're talking all about olive oil. We couldn't think of a better option than olive oil lovers, so joining me today is Joanne Lucina. She's the president of Olive Oil Lovers. Joanne, welcome to the show and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for having me. I'm so excited to talk all about olive oil right now.
I think I'm a little bit more excited, as I was just telling you. So do you mind telling our audience a little bit about the company and a little bit about yourself and how you play a role in it?
Sure. So I'm the founder and president of oliveoillovers.com, which is an e-commerce website devoted entirely to selling high quality extra virgin olive oils direct from the source, direct from the producers online. And we sell to both retail and wholesale customers around the United States. And I launched this company in 2012 after just seeing a great need for to be able to service American consumers directly with really high quality oils that consumers could really trust. And so I'm performing that role of, building really strong relationships with really amazing, respectable producers all around the world and importing these oils directly to ship all around the US straight to your door.
That's great. Yeah, someone like me, I've been lately kind of in a mix. I don't really know where to start with my olive oils. As I was telling you, there's just so many varieties out there, and I just don't know where to start. So this company, what you guys are going to be showing me today with all your varieties, I'm really excited to learn more about what you guys do. So do you mind telling us a little bit about the olive oils that you have on the counter today with us?
Sure. So I selected this range of 8 oils. Not only are they some of my personal favorites, but they really give you a broad range of how varying the flavors of olive oil can be. It's like wine in the sense where you're going to have a very different complex flavor profile of aromas and tastes based on the variety of the olive that the oil was crushed from. And these varieties are very region specific to Spain, Italy, Greece, certain areas of that country, and then other factors that contribute to the outcome of the flavor of the oil is, of course, how soon you're picking the olives. If you're picking them when they're very green at the beginning of the harvest, you're going to get more pungent, grassy, greener flavor notes than the more mellow, riper, fruity notes that you'll get when you pick the olives when they're starting to turn more black towards the end of the season. And of course, how soon you crush the olives after picking them, the type of equipment that you're using, how well you're storing the oil, all these play contributing factors to the final flavor and quality of the oil. So this is a very kind of comprehensive range from mild to robust with a lot of different flavors for each one.
Oh, yeah. So I see that you have, olive oils from different places. Are the standards in each region, each country, are they different?
So all the European countries follow the standards of the International Olive Council for extra virgin. So they do have to meet certain chemical and flavor characteristics in order to be labeled extra virgin. So there are those protocols that companies need to follow in order to label it as such. But all of these producers really kind of go above and beyond. I mean, they're well within the parameters of that need to be met for quality. And these are some of the top oils in the world.
Okay, well, I'm pumped about that. Okay, so before I get into tasting, do you want to kind of give me an introduction on what I should be looking for, like balance, harmony, bitterness, anything that I should take note on?
Sure. So there's three factors that you pay attention to when you're tasting. One is what we call fruitiness, which is really just a positive flavor. So fruitiness could be artichoke, grass, tomato vine, kiwi can be one. Just these
Interesting.
positive flavor notes that you're tasting. There should be some flavor in order for it to be extra virgin. And then you pay attention to the pungency, which is going to be this sort of tingling in the back of your throat. That's from the plant phenols, the natural compounds found in olive oil that give it this pungency in the back of the throat. And then you have bitterness. Bitterness is actually a good thing in your olive oil. Now, you don't want your oil to be so bitter that you have to spit it out. You really want, overall harmony and balance in your
Yeah.
oil. So you can have a really nice mild oil that's really light in fruitiness, really low in bitterness and pungency, and that will pair well with more delicate foods. And then you can have a really amazing, robust, peppery, pungent oil that's very grassy and herbaceous, that can be really fun for steaks and grilled foods, things like that.
There are
So
so
those are the three
many.
things to pay attention to. Yeah.
Okay, I think this is good. Say anybody that likes to, take somebody out on a date at home, this is kind of like a cool thing that they can learn how to do these little tips. All right, so we're gonna go over the
Absolutely.
first one. This one, if you want to correct my pronunciation, it's Entelia.
Antalya, yeah. So
Okay.
this is what we call a monovarietal, a monocultivar, meaning it's made from just a single variety of olive called Koroniki. It's a very, very common variety in Greece.
Okay.
It's the dominant variety of most oils coming out of Greece. And we're starting with this oil because it's quite mild on the pungency, robust spectrum. But the fruit is very soft and sweet and smooth, almost a little bit buttery, which is why it appeals to a lot of chefs, a lot
Okay.
of consumers. It's kind of a go-to oil you can use for sauce making, for salad dressings, and even for finishing, a delicate fish. It doesn't overpower any flavors of the food.
Oh, very
So
light. Yeah.
and you get like a lot of almonds. I get a lot of almond on the nose, and just kind of smoother fruity notes.
Yeah, it's not overpowering at all. I've tasted some overpowering olive oils before, but this is definitely very mild.
Very mild, just a tiny, tiny bit of bitterness, a tiny bit of pungency in the back of the throat. I mean, this is really an oil for anything and everything. I always say if you're gonna have one oil in your kitchen, go for a Greek Koroniki. It's kind of a crowd pleaser, and it's definitely one of our best sellers. It's a great introduction to olive oil.
This makes me think because, well, first I'd like to ask, like, what do you think about the quality of, front of the house olive oils in restaurants now? Like, do you think they're good, or do you think there's room to work with it a little bit?
There's definitely room for improvement. Unfortunately, what happens very often is that a restaurant may just use the same oil that they're using for sauce making and frying in the kitchen, and then they put it out for bread dipping on the tables.
You can't do that.
It's really not. I mean, if you're using an excellent oil in the kitchen, great. I mean, this is a really great value oil. I always say this to chefs. It's a great price point. It's very affordable. So you can use it for both back of house and front of house to have your customers dipping their bread in, and they'll love it.
I think that's a great idea because, like I was saying earlier too, you're like a sommelier for olive oil because people are absolutely lost. And I can see that somebody would probably just bring the same olive oil from the back of the house to the front. And it sucks. I just recently went out to a really nice restaurant, and I was eating the bread in front with the olive oil, and I thought to myself, really? They couldn't have, brought out a little nicer olive oil? And it's just like going to your website, they have everything there for them to find out what they need. So, oh my gosh, you guys need to get on it with her. Okay, so next one that we've got, this one is the Henry Moore, correct?
Yes, so this is Henry Moore's Private Reserve. It is, again, another monocultivar made from 100% Arbequina olives from northern Spain, from Catalonia. And Arbequina is a more delicate Spanish varietal that grows primarily in this region of northern Spain. And these first two oils that we're trying are really like what I call chef oils. Arbakina's hot right now. That's what I always say. Every chef wants Arbakina. It's also grown in California. It's a variety that really takes to the conditions there as well.
Okay.
But what's very distinct for me for Arbakina is the banana notes. Not a lot of varieties have those banana notes, and you can really get it on the nose when you're smelling it. That kind of ripe banana peel. And I love this because there's a natural sweetness, obviously not a residual sugar type of sweetness, but a real fruit forward sweetness. Yeah. You even get some dried fruits on the nose. And so if you really want to lend a sweetness to like a butter leaf, salad or lighter greens, romaine, and of course, a more delicate white fish. This is a great oil. Chefs love this oil because it's a really good quality, sweet, delicate, and it won't overpower. They're not afraid to pair it with most of their dishes on their menu.
Oh yeah, this bottle might go quickly at my house, I think. This is very easy to pour. Oh my gosh, this is so easy. Yeah, this one is definitely different from the other one.
Mm-hmm. Very low bitterness. Ooh. And Arbakina has lower polyphenols, so it does get more delicate more rapidly over time. Because olive oil is a fruit juice, we must think of it this way. It is the product of the juice. It is the juice of the olive, so it does not get better over time like wine.
Interesting.
And the flavors do get more mellow over time. So if you have a really pungent, bitter oil, try that oil in 9 more months. It might be a little bit softer. And some oils sustain their flavor strength longer over time. And that has to do with the polyphenols, which is that pungency. The more pungent the oil, the longer the shelf life of those flavors.
Okay, so should we be looking at the best, I see in a lot of the bottles it'll have, best used by. Should we really be paying attention to that or kind of push it off to the side?
I have opened up really high quality oils 2 years after, the harvest date, and they're still really fantastic. A high quality oil will last much, much longer, especially if it's stored, unopened, away from light and heat. Very important. Mm-hmm. Those are the two biggest enemies of oil. It will degrade faster if you keep it on your stove, if you keep it out exposed to light. You really want to pay more attention to the harvest date. If it's on our website, we always list the harvest date. We rotate, we flush out the old harvest in with the new harvest every year. It's very important to be offering, the freshest oils that you can. Harvest date is far more important than the best before.
Yes. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got the Phanta
Ionata, yes.
Ionata.
Yes. So this is another monovarietal. I like doing monovarietals because it really gives you, a good sense of what this olive in particular really tastes like. And this is a fantastic woman-run company run by Lucia Ionata. She was featured on 60 Minutes a few years ago when they were doing a segment about olive oil fraud, and then what people were asking.
Because that's a big deal,
yes. And she's an amazing woman, very, very passionate about what she does. And I got to walk through her organic olive groves with her and her son last year during the harvest season, and it was just an extraordinary, very romantic place. And this I love. This is made from Etrana olives. It's one of my favorites because it's very tomato forward, and I just love a strong tomato scent on my oil, and it really just brings you to those garden summer tomatoes. And again, very well balanced, medium fruity, not too bitter, not too pungent, really lovely on the garden vegetal notes.
Yeah, what else would you pair with this one specifically? This one definitely is a little bit more, I could taste it much more than the other one that I just had. What would you pair this with?
Well, like a classic caprese salad, anything that has, kind of
Some
a fresh
mozzarella.
tomato as a highlight, with the mozzarella cheese, that kind of like buffalo mozzarella cheese is really lovely with this oil. Anything with the fresh herbs, the basil, the tomatoes, garden vegetables, and also again, you can't go wrong with yeah, just a nice grilled white fish with this oil as well.
Always, always. I like this one. Very tasty.
Mm.
Now, what kind of I was reading that you can pair olive oil with some really interesting things. I saw one of them was ice cream. What one would go with ice cream? I've never heard of that before in my life.
We'll get to that one. And weirdly, like
Oh,
that's
cool.
where you kind of want to complement when you're pairing olive oils. You want to complement, use stronger oils for more, robust flavored dishes, and lighter oils for lighter foods. But when it
Okay.
comes to ice cream pairing, you kind of want it to pop. You really want to taste the olive oil on the ice cream, and
That
I'll
is
tell you which one
interesting.
that is when we get to it.
I don't know where you heard of it, but I like it. Okay, so moving on to
It's
the
something we
next
do around
one.
here. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so Mandrinova, is that correct?
So
Oh my
this
gosh,
is another
got one of them.
Italian oil, and I'm just a huge fan of the company, of the couple behind this oil. They have an amazing agro-tourism operation, and you can stay in their villa, and she'll
Oh
show you how to
wow.
cook, and you use all these fresh Sicilian ingredients. This is Sicilian oil, and
Sign me up.
a dominant variety from Sicily is the Nocellara del Belice, and theirs is absolutely exceptional. You'll even notice that this oil is very, very emerald green in color. Now, color is not an indicator of quality. It's very important, unless, of course, it's like clear or orange or some odd brown color.
Oh
But
yeah. I'll throw that one out.
every variety, just like wine, it's going to give you a little bit of a different color. Some olives just produce a more maybe straw yellow color, and for instance, this Nocellara from Mandrinova is just very emerald green. So it's a very kind of striking oil
Definitely,
in that sense.
yeah, it tastes much, much more different on my tongue than the other ones.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the more medium
Tastes a little bit
robust.
grassier
So
a
you
little
might
bit.
feel. You may feel a little bit more bitterness. Like I can feel this tingling the top of the roof of my
Yeah.
mouth now, just getting a little tingle in there. And definitely we're getting into those greener notes on the fruit spectrum. I kind of think of the fruity notes from going from like fruit forward to more green,
Yeah.
herbaceous notes. And so now we're getting into like that herbal, grassy
That's a good way of putting
kind of
it,
flavor.
definitely. Okay, so what does this pair with? What kind of dishes would I see this in?
You start to get into the more robust, peppery, pungent oils. You're going to, then you kind of get into the grilled realm, because you have the acidity from the char that you get when you're grilling things that really pairs well with this. Like think of anything that you might put fresh cracked pepper on. Try a
Okay.
spicy, robust olive oil. Grilled vegetables are great, as well as you can start getting into some meats. I love putting olive oil on a medium rare grilled steak. It's just
Hey,
a
I'll
lot of
do
people
it. I
think
put
it's
olive
crazy
oil
for
on
putting olive
everything.
oil on steak, but the
No,
Italians
not
do
at
it,
all.
and it's not it's.
And so you lived over there for a little bit of time, didn't you?
I lived in Crete, and that's where I fell in love with olive oil, and I was just literally living amongst the olive trees,
Seriously.
and the Greeks consume more olive oil than any other country. They just pour it on everything. They have vats of olive oil in their
So is it a
kitchens that they
myth?
just use.
Do they drink it like wine over there? Because I was reading that I saw that they drink like maybe a quarter of olive oil in the morning.
Some do, and we have a lot of
What?
customers who do that as well. It's just
Oh, it's very good
It's
for
good for
you.
your health. It's good for digestion.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
I always say, well, why not just put it on your food and eat it.
Right? I agree.
You know,
I'll just
it's
put it on
more
the
fun
food.
to put it on food, but you know, if you want to drink it too, you know, to
Well, I
each
put
their own.
olive oil in my coffee before because I used to drink coffee, so I would do
Oh,
that with some healthy fats if I didn't have any
sure.
like MCT oil, but it tastes good, so it doesn't matter to
Yeah,
me.
there you
Okay, so
go.
we've got Rincon.
Yes, the Rincon de la Sabetica. This is an organic oil, another monocultivar made from Hoja Blanca olives from Spain. This is Hoja Blanca is really one of my favorite varieties out there. I love it. This
Ah,
company, this Rincon, is one of the best Hoja Blancas. You know, they do this variety just perfectly, and because it's just really their region is it's the dominant variety in that area of Cordoba, and so this oil is always a wow when I'm doing a tasting with a chef for something, because it's just really well balanced. It's medium robust. You're going to have some bitterness. You're going to have some pungency. It's super tomato vine. It's just that is the signature for me of an Hoja Blanca. It's just like walking through, you know, a
yes,
tomato patch in the
yes.
garden. So, you know, when you think of Spanish cuisine with this oil, I mean, I love this oil. You know,
Oh,
some
wow.
Spaniards, you know, say like, oh, I don't, you know, you shouldn't put olive oil on a beautiful
This
jamon or
is really
something,
good. Oh
but I
my
do. Yeah.
goodness. Wow. The
It's an
range is
exceptional oil.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow, going from
Yeah.
this to, wow, that's very different.
Yeah, so if you're making like pan tumaca in the morning, you know, having a Spanish breakfast with the fresh grated tomato, you know, on the bread, the toasted bread, this oil is just so perfect with that. And I find this oil is kind of works on everything and anything, and anything you're going to pair with tomato, like tomato sauces too.
Okay.
You know, this is a good oil to have a little bit more of a robust oil for a tomato sauce, or you know, finishing some pasta as well.
Jeez. Do you do dinners at your house with friends and just kind of take them through olive oil? Because that is just such a cool time. I'm going over to your house if
Yeah,
you're doing
yeah.
it. Okay, so
Yeah.
I saw this one on your website because your website offers kits for consumers to get if they want to try out a couple different ones. So this one I did see featured on there. This is the Oro del Desierto.
Yes.
Desierto? Okay.
Yep, Oro Del Dozierto. I love this company. I've been working with them since the beginning, and they're really unique in just the area where they are. You know, where all the spaghetti westerns were filmed, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Those were all
Yeah.
filmed in southern Spain in the desert, and that's where they are
Really?
located.
Oh, that's a
Yes,
fun
and you wouldn't think
fact.
that olive oil grows there, but they actually
No.
have this beautiful, super healthy, organic, almost really biodynamic olive grove in this kind of, you know, inside the mountains. You know, it's this little
Oh,
oasis in the
wow.
desert, and so it's really untouched from, you know, any pests or agrochemicals. They have wild horses that run in the fields and eat the weeds, and they're just it's a family-run company. The
That's
two
nice.
sons and the dad and the mom and the wives, they're all involved, and they, you know, because it's the desert, the polyphenols in the oil are higher because the olives are more stressed and a little bit drier. So
Interesting.
the resulting oil is more bitter and pungent and higher in polyphenols. So actually, it's sort of high on the health spectrum. So we have a lot of fans of this oil
Nutritionally
who,
dense.
you know, who consume it for that reason. But it's again,
That's a
we're
good
going to be
point,
more
though.
bitter, more pungent. And this is actually a coupage. It's a blend of three different varieties: Arbequina, Hoja Blanca, and Picual. And that way, the master miller can create a really harmonious blend. And this just wins top awards year after year on the international awards circuit. And it's a really stunning oil.
Yeah, that one's taken me for a journey there. It hits my palate and then it'll give me a couple different flavors.
It
Wow,
really
that one was
opens and
very
evolves
tasty.
on the palate.
Oh, I'm so sad. We're down to our final two. So we are on, do you want to pronounce this one for me?
That's Oro by Len.
You
So
do
Oro
it justice.
Bailen,
I do not.
this is another Spanish oil. It is by far probably the best Pequal oil in the world. I mean, this company has taken Pequal from like a kind of a more commercialized variety to a really, really high end, high quality oil because they harvest so early in the season. They pick these olives when they are like 100% green.
A real quick question. Sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. Like as far as like price tag, when you're saying quality and everything, should a consumer ever be put off by a price tag? If we see something that's very expensive, should we automatically think it's a good wine or a good olive oil? Or how do we know with that?
Um, I would say it's more of an indicator on the low end of the price spectrum. If buying something, a bottle of oil for less than, let's say, $10 today on the supermarket is a little bit questionable.
Okay.
Especially if it's like $2.99 in a clear plastic bottle. I
Too
mean,
good
I
of a
don't even know
deal.
what that is, but I'll tell you it's not olive oil. I
Bet
don't
you
know what's
not.
in that bottle. But other Italian oils, true Italian oils, generally are kind of the more expensive ones because these are smaller estates. Everything is hand labor, hand picked. Expensive milling equipment, so the costs are just higher.
Okay.
Spanish oils are a really great value. It's not necessarily an indicator of quality. The more expensive is going to say that that's the better quality. There's quite a price differentiation, perhaps, between this top oil from Spain and then a top oil from Tuscany, but they're equally, in a competition, let's say, would be judged equally, just as they'd be judged equal, if you will.
This is definitely different than the previous one that I just tried. This one definitely had a lot more notes on my tongue. I tasted some differences, but this one is smoother, I would say.
It is. It is actually. It is. This one has smoothed out, and this is kind of a good
Yeah.
example of how an oil evolves over time. So, trying this
Interesting.
oil at the beginning of the year, let's say like January, when we start getting the new harvest oils in, because the harvest season is in the fall from October, November primarily. So, now we're here later in the year, and the oils will be a little bit softer than when we maybe try them at the beginning of the year. But typically, Picual is a really robust variety. But
Piqua.
this is quite smooth. So I would say either of these last two oils that we tried would be your ice cream oil.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it really pops, and when you have this vanilla, smooth, creamy, sweet ice cream, and then you put this peppery, grassy oil on it, it's very delicious. We're big
That
fans of
actually
oil on ice
does.
cream around here.
Or even like maybe pistachio ice cream. This is, I'm getting
Yeah,
some
yeah.
ideas here. This is kind of good. Oh, okay. I'm so
And
sad. This
chocolate
is the
too.
last one.
Chocolate.
Ooh, that'd be good. Okay, so we're on the last one. This is Frankie or
Franchi,
Francie? Francie?
Franchi, yes, it's
Franchi.
from Tuscany. So this is Frantoio Franchi. This is Franchi is sort of he's one of, for sure, hands down, the most one of the most respected producers out there. He's been producing exceptional oils out of Tuscany for many years. It's the company was started by his father, grandfather, and
Okay, so this is generational.
yes, very much so. And he's a very talented taster. He sits up in his tasting room right above the mill. Every batch of oil that comes in, he tries, and then he designates what oil it's going to be, what quality it's going to be. If it doesn't meet his standards of quality, he just says, "I don't have that oil this year."
I like that. I much prefer someone to do that instead of put something
That's what
out.
all these companies do. They're so protect. This is their lifeblood. So they're not going to compromise the integrity of their quality of the brand that they've built to put inferior oil. And it's a natural product. So sometimes nature isn't on your side, and
Yeah.
you're not getting the best quality out of the olive this year that you would have hoped. So you just have maybe less oil to offer that year. Similar to wine, similar to the big wine, the top wineries, they just say wasn't a very good year, and I only have so many cases this year.
I would appreciate them doing that instead, because it jeopardizes the quality, the taste, and somebody might not go back to it. That was very, very smooth. I love the way that you put this in order. It's very interesting, the differences in taste. Very light, and then I really got some robust flavors right over here, and then finished out with the nice ice cream ones.
Yeah.
I love it.
The Tuscan oil is very, very unique. I'm getting like mintiness. It's
Okay, so I've got 3. I'm gonna pick my top 3 here. So the first one, I've got to agree. I'm torn between these 2. Because I honestly, I feel like I could probably go through a whole bottle of this one, the Henry Moore. I really, really like this one a lot.
Awesome. Yeah.
Henry Moore, you might be coming home with me, Henry. And then the other 2 that I liked this one, the Rincon, because it had a very distinct taste to me. I've never had an olive oil, because I'm very new to all of this. I feel like, basically I was just trying, the ones that you could get at the regular grocery store, Whole Foods. But these are the real deal olive oil. So I've never tried anything with that kind of taste. And then the last one is actually the Franchi.
The Franchi, yeah. Oh, good.
Franchi.
Great. Yeah. It's really unique. I mean, just trying that one last, even for me, is like, that unique Tuscan flavor that has, it's almost like some jasmine and mint, and you're just getting notes that are very, very unusual and delicious. And like, I would put that on a chocolate mousse. Tuscan oils are really fun to play with, and they pair really well with meats as well, like beef carpaccio and that kind of thing. It's really fun.
Oh my gosh, Joanne, I could literally talk to you about olive oils, because I know I didn't even get to scratch the surface with you on this. But before we wrap up, can you tell the viewers where they can purchase all of these amazing products at?
Absolutely. You can just go to oliveoillovers.com, and you can buy any of these oils and more. They're all personally selected by myself, so I stand behind every oil that we sell, and we have options. We have a tasting kit that can walk you through the different types of olives, and you can also
I will be getting that.
Yeah, we have like small little sample sizes. You can do our pick 6 if you just kind of want to try before you buy. So it's a great way to sample as well. Yeah.
Yes, I honestly, after trying all of this, I think this was great, especially from my experience of being a consumer and being absolutely lost in the marketplace. Get yourself over to oliveoillovers.com. They have everything. Joanne, you've done an amazing job. So thank you so much for being on Taste Kitchens today and sharing these amazing, delicious varieties of olive oil.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. This is always so much fun.
Great. All right. And thank you to our audience as well for watching this show. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and smash that bell for more great content. And if you have a great idea for an upcoming episode, please send an email over to producer@foodabletv.com. We'll catch you next time right here on Taste Kitchen.